What is everything?
Just, just whatever they got, they get. I want, first of all, to find out how many committees it is. That's number one. I want to find out all the committees. The reports. And then I want to get those reports. That's number one. And then whatever resolution, Mr. Ross just said, they pass resolutions. Okay?
I can be part of it.
Copy it.
And just we read the minutes of all our meetings.
And I'm happy, I think it's great to get any information any commission wants, but everything, what I just heard everything is that the commissioners would also like copies of all minutes of all committees and any committee report.
Absolutely, yes.
Everything could be about anything.
What efficiency say, some of that online?
The problem is that they got, Judge said I might not want bathroom cleaning schedule, I might. The problem is, I know we just paid A&M $13 million, or at least we got a contract for $13 million. And the first, one of the things the CMS came back on us was with the kitchen, the dietary. And did we do a new contract for that?
We have not done a new contract.
Haven't done a new contract for cleaning the kitchen? Not even thinking about it.
A&M is still employed.
Beg your pardon?
A&M is still employed.
Oh, I got that. That's 13 million, but with CMS, when they came back the second time on the dietary, when I was up at the command center, when they suspended and came back, there's a contract. I guess Mike is coming to help me. Like it's $300,000, and I know it. See, the problem is, that's what it bothers. That we don't know. I hope we don't know.
You know, Commissioner, if you would let me know in advance the questions you'd like answered, it would be a lot easier.
I got all of that, but my point is, see, that's what I'm telling the judge. If you just send the stuff to me, I'm going to generate something back. I'm going to ask you. I send quite a few letters, and as a result, I've been told that sometimes you don't get it till 2 or 3 days later because board information doesn't get opened and transmitted. This is from Mr. Lester, not from Mr. Ross. You know, that's the last email I got. That's the reason we don't feel like.
And my concern is I can't hold anybody accountable for for not sending something if they're sending whatever everything is. But if you guys understand one another as to what everything is, great, send that. And I think what I've heard on delineated documents are all contracts, board members, or board minutes.
Resolutions.
Resolutions and reports from boards, as well as these reports, the report from Sullivan Cotter, and any other reports that are relevant to the budget that we're going to be looking at.
I'm happy to do that. I'm going to leave this to our legal department to determine what can be sent, what can't be sent.
And there we go again.
And I'm just saying on the tape so you'll have it, what it is.
Yeah, and see, there we go again, what we can, if it's public, you know, if you do that, it's public. Only thing that's specific is personnel specific and land transaction. It's no different than ours. So everything else is public.
I'll leave that to our legal department, Commissioner, and be happy to comply with your request.
And hopefully it will be a contact person, Ms. Branson, so, you know, with the staff, that's when we place with Mr. Martin. Mr. Martin will disseminate the information to all of us. That's an important point, because sometimes we don't know what to call.
So that's a great point. And just to make this easier, on the everything other than what I delineated out, if we could please break these, on the email where they're attached, that Mr. Martin's going to get, he's going to disseminate, enclosed herein or something. So we kind of know what that is. The everything beyond that, does everybody want the everything document? Okay. I don't need the everything document. I would like the everything document.
So the story of us want the everything done.
It's not that, I don't choose. I'd like to be informed.
Okay.
Should provide information to Daryl,
Maybe there's no push point person, just in case that there's some issue.
All right. Anything in closing, or are we done with the part? Thank
Not
you.
unless you've got further questions.
No further questions.
Thank you, Ms. Branson.
Thank you
Appreciate it.
for your service and for coming.
Your time and dedication.
All right. Long Texas, you jump around.
We'll move to the agenda, item 1, West Nile virus update, Director Thompson.
All right, Ryan, you ready?
Welcome to mosquitoes.
Let's go to the next slide. Quick update, as we know, we've had positive mosquito trap identified, 5 public health lab on last week, City of Dallas did spray, last night, and we spraying as well tonight. Let's go to the next slide. These are the traps that we submitted to the CDC, people who submitted, I think they just got back in office, so I think they're still doing it. Let's go to the next slide. Quick update, BDCI has done a great job this summer. Again, thank the court for this specific contract. We think this should be an ongoing contract even for next year, but they have been instrumental in doing the target spraying on abundance reduction. We've done a great job in that aspect. Leading edge, map vision is up and running. I see Public Works has a document on for briefing. We'll be able to tie into that process through the map vision and be able to transfer our mapping in the near future. We're still waiting on the resistance testing. That's coming forward, so we should have some information as well. Again, the mosquito data that we collected other than in the city of Dallas last week were all negative. And let's go. And then I wanted Dr. Perkins also, and I always bring it up because I see some people get credit, everybody else, but the top doctor has been watching the mosquito abundance. We saw someone said that the abundance level has gone down, but that's what Dr. Perkins has been saying week after week, is that the abundance data that we've seen has fluctuated, and we've seen the reduction. Also, in terms of this case definition, I've seen different accounts of what happened. Again, we did have a doctor who told us that this was the case. After we vetted it with the state, they said it was not a case. So it should have been vetted by our staff. I'm still committed to that, and we'll vet those out in the future as well before I send it on to anybody else.
Good morning, Commissioners Court, citizens of Dallas County. I'd like to revisit the case definition, case classification. This is not only for West Nile virus, but also for other arboviruses, whether it be St. Louis encephalitis, whether it be Eastern equine encephalitis. This is a document that actually helps us as the medical community to determine what is the cause of the symptoms that the patient is presented to in the clinical environment. So what does this mean? The state of Texas Health Lab receives mosquito samples from various communities in Dallas County. Now, those mosquito samples are sent to Austin, and they're actually screened for the other viruses, such as St. Louis encephalitis, Eastern equine encephalitis, Japanese encephalitis virus. So what does that mean? That means that those particular samples were cultured. In other words, those cultures take couple of weeks to get the results back. So, as we go to the next slide, please, we're looking at West Nile activity compared to 2012 based on to date in 2013. If you look there at the top of the chart there, it has the dates from 2012. As of July 7, 2012, there were 73 reported confirmed traps at Dallas County Health and Human Services. At that same time, in looking back, this is hindsight, there were 103 traps. In other words, there were approximately 30 traps that we had not received the results back because they were being processed or being grown out. So what does that mean? Even though we're monitoring the mosquito activity in relationship to abundance and positive mosquito traps with the virus, there's a lag time. So what, in regards to the human cases, July 7th of 2012, we had 9 confirmed cases. Let's fast forward to July 6th of this year. We had 7 reported traps to Dallas County Health and Human Services, which matched with the 7 that were reported to the state. And as of today, we have 0 human cases. So what we did this year compared to last year, we to try to close that lag time between mosquito trap data and the human cases. However, because the state is constantly monitoring the environment for other mosquito waterborne related infections such as Salmonella encephalitis, as I previously mentioned, there's still a window where we might not be in the here and now as far as what's going on in the mosquito environment. But Dallas County Health and Human Services, we're processing more of those mosquito traps here locally so we can get a rapid turnaround of what's going on in the community. And with that being said, I think that we're making a great impact in regards to taking the virus in the community and also try to get those numbers of abundant mosquitoes, get them down to minimize the threat to our citizens in Dallas County. Next slide, please. This is our West Nile surveillance report, dated as of July 6, 2013. And if we look at the total number of mosquitoes trapped and tested, roughly around 50,000. As far as the average number per trap, we're seeing a continued decline of the average number of female mosquitoes per trap, roughly around 58. So this particular time frame in relation to last year, we know that this year we don't have any labs that have reported asymptomatic donors. Those individuals have gone to donate blood. Last year we had several that were positive. They had no symptoms. This year, today, we have 0. As far as the West Nile positive mosquito traps, we have virtually none compared to last year. As I stated, 103 mosquito traps were positive. Looking back in hindsight, at this time last year, compared to 7 for this year. So I encourage everyone to continue to use personal protection, which includes the 4 Ds. Some communities say 5 Ds. But the main thing is that dust and dawn, dress appropriately, apply insect repellent, drink standing water, and defend your home from the mosquito invading your home, because we know it's a southern house fly for a reason. Thank you.
To a point that Dr. Perkins has brought out, by no means, the data speaks for itself. We'll just say this, that we still got a long way to go in terms of this season. We're clearly focused on it. Hindsight is 2020. I'm glad that staff were able to get this kind of, thanks to Dr. Perkins, staff were able to get this data that we couldn't get last year, we couldn't have now. Last thing we did get the dumps in, the mosquito dumps. Moving forward in the distribution of those mosquito dumps to the city. I want to commend, I realize that, I want to commend those staff that work in our various programs that we've taken from various points of our health division who work day in and day out, who are focused on West Nile virus. These individuals, oftentimes names don't get mentioned, but they're the ones who are spending the weekends and the after hours working, having conversations with Dr. Perkins and myself, and I having sidebar conversation. They talk to us about what's actually going on. I want to commend Dallas County Health and Human Services staff and the citizens of Dallas County who are following the recommendation of using insect repellent. And we've not had any issues since we passed the bill. Cities are following up on Senate Bill 186 in terms of monitoring that. And so we've done a great job, and I want to commend those staff who really sit down. We have strategy meetings daily around West Nile virus. It gets to the point where somebody even try to go find someone that has West Nile virus and have a report. That's what I find amazing. But again, to date, and by the time we leave here today, there could be a report. But we're ready. The fact that we have 0 human cases today is a good sign. But again, the next 3 weeks, we will be monitoring extensively. Dr. Perkins is dealing with this day in and day out. He's the key person in this equation. And in his briefing to me daily is showing us that, and again, we also thank God the fact that we didn't have a similar epidemic as last year. But we did, going forward, I think we got a good team in place. We got data that I'm gonna say we did not have the same period last year. And so I appreciate the Dr. Perkins being the lead person on that. That's who I'm gonna give credit to. Anybody else, that's fine, but he's the one that's really leading this process.
I wanted to say thank you very much for bringing the mosquito spray to my offices as we went to 4th of July parades and distributed to the citizens of Dallas, and they were pleasantly surprised and thanked Dallas County for their foresight in providing mosquito spray. And yes, so thank you for doing that piece of it, because it's community education, but then also following it up with real life activities that you're very much involved in.
During your recess for the next 3 weeks, we will be sending out, we'll still send out a weekly update. You won't get it on Friday or Saturday. I'll get it to you that Monday, so if that's okay.
That's fine.
Yeah, all right.
That's okay, and we appreciate your weekly update.
I'm here.
He wants his on Friday.
I'll get to it, okay. I'll hand it
But let me
over.
tell you something, Mr. Thompson, I really appreciate your weekly update, because that allowed me the time to put it in the website, in our website, in the political website, so people know. And this week, the positive mosquito trap was 75208, a prison that is in my district, and I really appreciate it. I think we got it out on time, and people appreciate it. Not always they like it, but they appreciate it. And then I would like to have a follow-up. One of the new pieces that we're implementing during the season is the prevention part of all these dumps, whatever you call them, and which is something that is a prevention measure in my mind that we haven't done before. And I think that is something to follow up. Also for the Spanish translation on the map vision. And like I mentioned before, I think technology has to be part of it. I understand not everybody has access to that, but just the fact that sometimes the young generation, well, not sometimes, I know my kids are more savvy on anything that has a computer in front of me, can check it out and, communicate with their parents.
Yeah, map vision is up in
In Spanish. I also want to, as always, mention that you have probably one of the best, public health preparedness updates.
That's what the state
And I
does.
know, because I talked to you and I talked to several of the English proficiency communities, that there was a need to learn more about preparedness, and you have done that with the Asian Chamber, with the Mexican Consulate, and, as well as with the Muslim Community Foundation. And I appreciate that, that your staff is also doing. And thank you, Josh, thank you, Congress.
And also I want to mention, NACCHO, National Association of Counties and Cities, are having a conference this week. Mr. Price will be giving the opening remarks on Thursday morning. But that's a national conference that this year is in Dallas, next year is in Atlanta. But in fact, we have local health officials that will be in Dallas this week, staying at the Omni Hotel. We're a part of the host committee, and so we're glad to have those individuals in Dallas, and welcome to Dallas County.
In addition, I have one travel agreement with Health and Human Services and 4 staff traveling to Austin, Texas for a total of $80 paid for out of grant funds. Item 2, Human Resources Civil Service, that quote is on your formal agenda. Item 3, Public Works, 3A, quote is on your formal agenda. 3B, recommend approval of funding agreement with the state of Texas for funding of bridge, pedestrian, and intersection improvements on Spring Valley Road for MCIP Project 15801. Item 3C, recommend approval of funding for the Phase 2 GIS Enterprise implementation and an additional $350,000 for the study and implementation for Phase 2 for a total of $741,000. Second phase will be funded in fiscal year 2014 out of MCP. Item 4, purchasing 4A and B, those quotas on your formal agenda. 4C, render Redwood Texas Toxicology Laboratory as the highest rated firm for award consideration in response to the RFP for drug testing services for the Burke Corp. Item D, purchasing District Attorney's Office and Risk Management recommends Home Health Services Division be required to comply with contractual requirements to provide workers' compensation coverage. Judge, we do have one speaker listed for this item. If you'd like to take that speaker now.
What?
Hang on one second.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out, again, you're recommending that I thought we laid out what the difficulties were in regards to this service.
Mr. This briefing is in response to the questions that were asked at the June report, and the briefing includes the additional information about what claims have been, but even after reviewing that information, what we had done before previously with the court order is we've made sure that
the insurance issue had been resolved through June the 30th to make sure that we can release those payments to the contractor, and those have been released. But now there's still the question of the go forward, based on the information you have, as to, do we need to, what do we need to do with the contract?
But when we did the information isn't anything that's new. I mean, we pretty much.
Well, I believe there was the additional information about the claims, and you had asked that legal review those, and they did do that. So
Okay.
there's still the decision that the court needs to make at this point. The contract still states that they're required to have the insurance.
Exactly.
And the question becomes, does the court want to keep it at that point, or is the court, based on the information that's there, willing to do something different than that? And that's what we try to present to you.
But my concern is, I got all of that. So you got that, so you got the information on the claim. We understand on that. Now, I guess my point is, if they walk away from the service, what?
Sir, I believe it, and I don't want to speak for HHS or the company, but what was previously said is that if we do not have, if they're required to get the full level of coverage, they would not be able to fulfill the contract, and therefore approximately, I believe the number was 6 to 10 individuals would not have home health services for their, as a part of their service delivery. That those individuals, I don't know what would happen to them next. I think that may be a question.
It will not be a service. These are 6 to 8 critically
Ill.
ill patients.
Yeah.
That's the issue.
Right.
And so based on that, again, the court has, we just need now, based on getting the information that the court requested, a go-forward direction as to how to address the contractual issue through either continuing as we are or a contract amendment to release from that requirement.
So this is a briefing and recommendation.
Yes, sir, that's all it is. A briefing with information and a recommendation. Because what we have now is that we do have them covered for any services they provide for June. They should be submitting that invoice either have or will very soon. And so when we come back in August, we'll need to,
I mean, through
if the
July.
court wants, no, sir, through June, we can do June 30. If the court wants to do something differently, then we need to be able to spend some time preparing that so that we can have it go forward.
Gotcha.
You know, I'll just say for the record, go through all of them we want to, but I'll amend the contract. 6 to 8 people or 6 to 8, assuming amend the contract.
So, Commissioner, just to be clear, I'm sorry, Daryl.
That's what I was gonna ask. Go ahead, Shane.
Okay, so you would be in support of going with the option to delete the workers' compensation requirement?
Well,
And I'm assuming though, perhaps also keep the requirement that they have the indemnity plan that they currently have in
Yeah, well,
effect.
they got that in place. They said that the last time. So that's what I'm saying. The only thing that's at issue is the workman's comp.
So just based on the legal issue, that does offer us exposure. But you're saying that's exposure we can live with,
the
given the fact that there's nobody out there to do what they do in the community.
Exactly. And given they got the indemnity plan and looked at their claims. I know it's only 6 to 8 people, but 6 to 8 people are critically ill and I support.
Let me ask you this question, because I'm concerned about those 6 to 8 people as well. Are you nervous this opens the floodgates for others to drop their comp, or is this just a one-time deal with this one company?
Commissioner or Judge, we're always concerned with trying to have parity among our members and with our policies. We also do recognize that, and that's why all this information has been provided, that there are other circumstances. That's not a staff level decision, but we wanted to make sure you have all
This
this
is
information.
this is real exceptional, and it's not like we haven't gone down this road before. We may not have gone to this.
I will say that, the court has granted exceptions in the
That's
past
exactly.
based on receiving information.
And this is very unique. I mean, it's not like it's not unique.
But it was, the intent here was to make sure that the court made a well-informed.
And you're not making a recommendation at all?
No, Judge, as it states in the procurement, HR and the attorneys do recommend that we would stick with our original language. But that's,
So what are the options for the
That's all.
patients?
right, we recognize that has service implications.
That's all.
And there are no options for the patients, is what you're saying.
There are no options available through this, yeah. There were no other vendors that responded, no other home health vendors that
If they
responded to
don't
this.
carry this type of insurance, the patient will be on the street.
Or without home health care.
Without-
But this is Dallas County imposed.
Right, this is now county policy, not a federal requirement.
Right.
Yeah, so therefore it's policy.
It's a protection of your labor forces.
Do you want to hear from the speaker, Judge? on this
So
item?
if she stands up, she's going to
No, right, but she don't say the same thing she said last time.
We've heard from you, we're all very sympathetic, but if,
Can I say one thing?
Sure,
That is,
sure.
We went through this in 2010. when this
Exactly.
workers' comp was not a requirement in this county
Exactly.
contract. And
That's
this is a new requirement that the county has added to this one-white contract since 2000, in 2011 or 12.
when did we add that?
Well, Judge, I would say that if we, the solicitation as an account, probably has always had it. There may have been a question of whether or not there was some equal. And as I stated previously, Home Health Services of Dallas has had full workers' compensation coverage in the past. And when it got dropped, it does appear as if we may have missed noticing that.
Okay, I remember that now, okay.
Right, I did provide a letter that's dated January 2010 when we responded to the county as to why we became a non-subscriber and the breadth of the coverage that we have, and it was approved.
But we still do have a contract
Right.
from
I
12
got it.
that was signed
No,
with
we
that.
got it, okay.
And that's what we're talking about.
They're doing everything about it.
Yes.
Thank you. And as we sit here today, you don't know of any other situations like this where the only contractor that, if we had a situation, a health situation like this, and somebody said, I don't want to carry on, we wouldn't be able to help those people. I mean, I'd like to hear you tell me that there's not, you're not opening some sort of floodgates if you can do that. I'm very in favor of helping this person.
But Judge, this is the same, again, this is not new, this is a contract that they have been basically, and as she said, she dropped in Big Ten, she said it the last time. But most of the people, the reason that other people don't bid on it.
And that's what I'm asking. Do you have 5 or 6 contracts like this where there's only one bidder, or is this, kind of a unique situation?
Judge, I would call it a unique situation, and then what we do here is we put out for a wide variety of services, home health services being one of those. And we ask vendors to provide proposals to do any of those services that they choose. In this instance, only one responded for home health services.
It's always.
And that's what it's always been
So I
the
would
case.
say, and that's been consistent.
Right.
That it's been something where it's been a need that has been very hard to fill.
Exactly.
And it's a federal, there's no federal
On the
requirement.
needs assessment stated that the gap in Dallas County was in home health care for HIV patients who left the public hospital. So when they leave the public hospital, they're going to a home health facility. They're about to have other issues.
Right.
And they need this type of care in order to survive with the short time that they may have.
The only, and we're complicit, complying with that. The only issue here is our self-imposed workman's comp. We did that.
County insurance policy.
And I think that I'm hearing a consensus from the,
Yeah, I support our requirement in the contract, but I also would support an exception
okay.
in a specific instance like this.
And we have to protect workers and
As long as it's in the contract, but
We'll work with the district attorney's
I will vote on
office
it.
to draft an addendum to the contract that we think addresses what you all considered.
So what I'm hearing is leave it in the contract, but accept them from.
It would just be, it would remove that requirement for workers' compensation, but require that they maintain the indemnity policy that they currently have.
Okay?
Okay, and now, that was it, I'll be a public speaker.
We have one public speaker on that item. I still have few more items to read, and then we have one other public speaker. 5D is review of quarter of 2012-0416, authorizing cancellation of Commissioner's Court for the last week, Tuesday, of the month of July. Commissioner Price has asked that we bring that forward. We could table this, Commissioner Price, if you'd like to bring it back for August.
I'm just sitting down here next year.
Item 6, budget, 6A, Chicago travel training request. 6B, recommends filing of the personal services contract with the addendum to the Court of Appeals, 5th District of Texas, and Charles Max doing business as CAM Systems. Mr. Brown, you have any bring-ups?
I just have one correction on the travel. It's for the juvenile department. The grant employee, Rosalind Blackman, will be funded by grant 7108, not the emergency reserve.
Still, Judge, you still have one speaker listed. We had a time certain presentation for our tech share presentation for 11 o'clock. It is now 5 minutes to 12. I think there's still very much interest in having this presentation today. I will defer to Commissioner Cantrell on that since it's his
I've got
presentation.
Charles Gray in from Austin, and I think we're going to get
Court
this
staff
year.
here.
Staff. I think.
Go ahead and do it.
Oh, yeah, I want to do it.
You want to, what we could do is go to close and handle those items, and come back out and do the presentation, or we can go straight to the presentation, close, and go to,
Are we done now or late on the presentation?
Yes, we are.
You want the presentation
Yeah,
next?
let's do the presentation first.
I'm good whenever.
We can do the presentation. We do have one speaker still listed, Judge. We can get to that one speaker, and then we can go into the presentation.
Never mind, waiting 30 minutes, we can knock out the speaker. The last speaker is Mr. Jonathan Vance. Jonathan Vance. Last call, Mr. Jonathan Vance. And let's go to the presentation.
Okay. Charles, I'll get you to come up to the microphone and bail me out when I need help. Brian, you gonna run that for me? Okay, so what we're trying to do is to kind of give a global aspect of Conference Bourbon County as well as the tech share program that we have in Dallas County with Conference Bourbon County. The Texas Conference Bourbon Counties is composed of 37 eligible counties. That makes up about 80% of the population in the state of Texas. And it kind of shows you through there. We were a founding member of that when we started. It also has, where'd Gerald go? Okay, he has some handouts, but I don't know who he intends to hand those out to, if there's some individuals. But the population,
Maybe them on the floor.
yes, population, you can qualify if your population of 100,000 or is one of two adjacent counties that, not to us, I think, maybe it's for elected officials. Counties that form one MSA with a population greater than 100 or is contiguous to a member county within the same MSA. Okay. Some of the things that the Conference of Urban County does, the main thing is legislative and policy. CC studies policies and programs that could affect urban county government. And it also is to foster effective communication between the state and urban counties. But these are the three primary things that CC performs. And TechShare is one of those. On the public power pool, the judge serves on that committee. That's an electrical aggregation situation where I think since the P3 members that have been part of that, since its inception, has saved about $115 million, which is a pretty good deal. And that's
$15 million.
spread since 2002. Right. And I think just under the current contract of 2009 through 13, not the newest contract, P3 members saved about $53 million. TechShare was created in 2004 as a program of CEC, and basically there was a strategic definition defined through a CGIS roadmap, and that was done in 2005, and it was also updated in 2011, and I'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute. But basically, developed assets are owned by the CUC and available to all Texas counties. what we're trying to do is to figure out how small, medium, and large counties all share the same technology platform and share not only in the acquisition of software, but also in the development, possibly in the development, and also in the maintenance and operation. The biggest expense that you have in software, in technology, is maintenance and operation. So we're looking at how do you share that maintenance and operation, and also never let the system age out. Because a lot of systems that you have right now, they have an end-of-life use, just like AIS. You know, it's approaching its end-of-life use. So you have to replace that. And what we do through the TechShare program is to make sure that nothing ages out, because it's evergreen every year. And that's part of the maintenance and operation cost, is to continue to keep that updated and keep it on the newest technology that comes out. It also allows us to control our own destiny, and we're not held hostage by vendors. And it also provides redundant backup sites across the deal. If you're on the same platform, you're able to share information. You're also able to have backup sites that can give you redundancy. Some of the TechShare projects that we have right here is CJIS. That's the Criminal Integrated Justice System, as well as JCMS, and I'll talk a little bit about these later, and the Adult Case Management System. You can see on the TechShare structure, on the conference urban counties, we went through some real struggles here for the past 4 months in this, because what was happening is you have the founding counties, the funding counties, we were pumping all this money into TechShare programs. And the ultimate result was going to be, at some point in time, there would not be a TechShare county that would be on the TechShare board, on the Conference of Urban Counties board. So what we wanted to make sure was that the funding counties maintain sufficient control over TechShare and the assets within TechShare under the Urban Counties umbrella. And that's what we've done. The TechShare Oversight Committee was set up. Judge Whitley from Tarrant County is now the chair. I serve on that, as well as additional members from other counties. And they're all TechShare members. A member of CJIS, JCMS, or ACMS. And this also allows us not only the control that we need, but also allows for transparency and allows our auditors to come in and to perform audits whenever they want to do that. Okay. This will show you under TechShare, JCMS, and ACMS, we have a TechShare Juvenile Stakeholder Committee. Lisa Capers is with the Texas Juvenile Justice Division Department, and she is the chair of that. Daryl Martin serves on that. And then you have the technical committee, which Stan Victim serves on, as well as different individuals. Then you also have the TechShare Court Stakeholder Committee. G.K. Manius serves on that. Roger Jeffries and Daryl Martin. Daryl Martin's the chair of that. And we'll talk a little bit more about TechShare Courts here in a minute. TechShare Prosecutor, G.K. Manius, the court administrator from Tarrant County, is the chair of that. Then you have the technical committee, and that's all of the IT people from the different counties. This will show you, and I won't go through.
How do the people get on those? I saw Dr. Terry Smith, I saw Stan Victor. How do they get on those committees?
Those people are appointed by county, by their specific counties on who they want to represent them on. It's actually the funding counties.
Okay, funding counties, any relationship to their participation, investment, et cetera? I'm just trying to look like I see a lot of the funding counties don't seem to be on there.
A lot of the funding counties that seem to be on there?
Well, I see.
Well, you're going to find Tarrant and Dallas on every one of them.
That's what I'm asking.
Yes.
And Brandon Carter, Commissioner, he's the chief of Tarrant County. He's also on the state.
You've got, whoever the funding counties are, they're going to be the ones that make up that state. And so they have the vested interest in it. On the next slide, this shows you, I'm not going to read this, but this entire presentation is available for whoever wants it. But it gives clear roles as to the oversight committee, clear roles as to the stakeholder committee, and then also the technical committee. And one of the reasons why we set up the stakeholder, the oversight committee, go back one, Brian, is specifically to manage the budget and manage the scope of the project as well as the time period of the project. Okay.
And this is, so the record will be real clear, this is a significant restructure with regards to the initial engagement.
Absolutely, a very significant restructure. It's been a very difficult one, and I've heard rumors about and all kinds of things, Charles leaving, Don Lay's leaving, all those kind of things. Those are part of the problems that part of the process that we went through. It was not a pretty process, but it was a necessary process and put Dallas County as well as the other funding counties in the best possible position. And that was the goal, is to make sure that we had control of the program that we're investing millions of dollars in. On the next, let's talk about the criminal integrated justice system. Basically, we have 17 counties participating, and they've saved approximately $34 million to date. You can see the 17 counties that are listed out there. Dallas County did not participate to the extent that other counties did because we had already inked a contract with Tyler, so it wasn't, we didn't get the full benefit because we were ahead of the game. Okay, so let's go into a little bit of the history, and that's on the next one. And one of the reasons why we were interested in the CJIS program was the criminal courts module as well as the JP courts module.
Let me back you up. On the, when you said it was ink that already inked with type,
Odyssey courts.
Right, the cost associated with that type of ink that we would apply to CJIS. What's the bottom line? In other words, it's $1 million.
It won't, right, but the Odyssey contract would not be included in this. That was separate and apart. We'd already done that deal before.
Yeah, well, I know. But what was about
The Odyssey, Christian, what's the total we paid on civil Odyssey for civil courts? It was around 10 million.
Sir, I'd have to go to the next week.
I'd have to pull that.
Okay.
Grants and funding and.
$8 million.
Okay, so we really had three different phases in CJIS. You go to the next one. The first phase was a feasibility study. Second was a requirements definition, detailed plan development. And the third phase was the actual development and then determine on the option to buy or to build. And that's basically how we approached this. If there was something out there on the market that we could purchase off the shelf, and that's what we would do. So on the feasibility study, we did participate in phase 1 and phase 2. And under phase 2, we received, Sierra did that, and Sierra Systems, and they completed a comprehensive set of business requirements for CJIS, a Texas CJIS Common Data Directory, and a data standardization strategy. And that was on time and under budget. And then in phase 3, that's where the process for the RFP was awarded to Tyler Technology. And it was thought of at that time that instead of building, we could provide that component and to the 17 counties and save a lot of money on doing that. Okay. Juvenile Information System. This was the precursor to really TechShare, because under this program, we started out in 2005, a federal grant program became available. We went around to 16 of the 18 cities that could get some grant money. They all pooled their money together with the county along with their cash match, and we built the Juvenile Information System out of grant money. When we implemented JIS, as of 2005, there were over 4,000 users on JIS. That's here locally. There were 93 certified agencies, 43 of them were using it as a primary system. And that's where the thought for TechShare came in. If we can do that in Dallas County and all the cities could participate, and The reason why we did the JIS is because nobody could share information without picking up the phone and calling somebody. So when we did this, all those agencies, 93 agencies were able to share that information on juveniles. And then we went from there and we branched out to El Paso and also the surrounding counties, Dallas County, and started sharing information with them. So then we took it to the Conference of Urban Counties, and that's when we decided to roll that out into TechSure. Okay. Next. Is that the next? Let me say this, on JIS, we spent a total of $6,139,000, and then additional costs for equipment and rollout was an additional $4 million, and 2005 is when we transferred it over to the CUC as an asset. The JCMS system, Juvenile Case Management System, is actually built off of JIS, and that's where that was the starting point. Bexar County, Dallas County, Tarrant County, and TJPC at that time, Texas Juvenile Probation Commission, all came together and decided that we would build the Juvenile Case Management System. And the project began in December of 2006. We're anticipating that the TechShare juvenile completion will be 2013. We completed the JCMS Basic. There was a caseworker system that Dr. Smith used in the juvenile department. TechShare Juvenile, TechShare Basic, JCMS Basic, basically replaced the caseworker system. And the TechShare Juvenile is an extension of that, and there's a whole lot more on institution management and different things like that, and I'll show you the differences here in just a moment. And let's see, Bexar County did withdraw from the project on September 30, 2011. They brought in a new CIO, and she did not like collaborations. She wanted to control everything within her shop, and that's what they did. Now, they did put in $3 million plus into the system. As a matter of fact, they put in $3,095,000 that helped us build the system. As a result of the contract, they were entitled to a copy of that source code, and that's what they received. Now, there's no updates or anything else, and they just have to use the way it is. And they're not entitled to any type of payback on money, which I'll talk about here in a minute, unless they join back and become active users of the juvenile case management system. If Dallas County independently developed the JCMS system, it would cost a minimum of $5 million. Today, we've spent around $3,634,000, and it's projected that the participants have saved collectively about $9.6 million. On the JCMS financials, this shows you the prepaid dollars that each of the counties have put in, as well as the state. The state is not entitled to reimbursement. Dallas County is. So today, we put in $3.6 million. As other counties join, we'll be able to, matter of fact, show the next slide. These are the counties that are eligible to join JCMS. Denton County is already looking at it. Charles, do they already have a contract, or are they?
They're reviewing the contract right now.
They're reviewing the contract, and they come in and pay their $506,000. So the development cost that we put in is $3.6 million today. When Denton comes in, there's a formula that tells how we divide that $506,000 between Tarrant County and Dallas County. And that'll be money that pours back into us that we're able to use for either M&O, maintenance operation, or future development. Okay. Question? Under the resource sharing budget, this is the actual budget that I have up here.
I just asked Commissioner, all of the coordinators and people in there, y'all all got a copy of this? Y'all didn't get a copy of it? How many of y'all did?
And do we have that? We've got that electronically that we can send out to everybody.
That's electronically, and I need 5 or so copies of.
They've been spread out.
They've been spread out.
So if you see Christie at the end of this, we'll get you a copy of that, and you'll have all of this documentation. The resource sharing addendum that we approved was for $1.5 million. from Dallas County back in 2013. And this shows you the expense and how that's broken down, and it just gives you the details that you have there. This sheet, the next slide shows you the JCMS Basic and what it does. And you can see by the check marks, the different functionalities, function point items that they have there, and as well as what Texture Juvenile does on the right-hand side. It does everything. And it gives you a little bit of an idea of that different functionality. I'm not going to go through each one of those, but that'd be very easy to see on that. On the next slide, currently JCMS Basic, and our goal is to roll this out completely across the state. We have 61 counties that are implemented. We have 9 counties that are underway right now. So that'll put us at a total of 70 counties out of, I believe, 160 that actually have juvenile departments across the state. Now, what that means is we have the state participating with us on maintenance and operation and everything. So we have their dollars coming in, as well as if these counties join in on Texture Juvenile, then they'll bring that additional money in to the county. Charles, you jump in and what you think you need to. On the next slide, this shows you the functionality. We originally had case management in our requirements, but additional functionality was identified once we did an implementation. So we needed some new development, so it kind of bumped the juvenile case management. It dumped the court case management. So we had 35 additional features that needed, and so we're going to be doing that at this time. So that case management, the court case management piece is not as of now, and that's something that Vic and Daryl and Dr. Daniel are going to be working with Gary Fitzsimmons on.
Yes, I could add one thing
Okay.
on this slide. You see right under implementation, it says Texture Juvenile in Dallas County. That's underway right now. We'll be on the full system at the end of this month, and that will allow you to begin to bring the law enforcement agencies on. So they can begin to share data.
Speak a little bit, please speak it to the mic. No, to the mic.
Oh, I'm sorry. If you're not hearing me, I'm sorry, Commissioner. That milestone is key because it will begin to allow you to roll out the system for law enforcement agencies and public schools across the county. And they'll be able to share not only your data, but all the data from the counties that are on the system.
Will there be any cost for them?
That's a good question, Commissioner. You could decide if you wanted to have them share in your maintenance and operation costs. It's a local decision.
Well, it's a local decision. However, if you go back to the original,
Historically, we haven't done that.
we haven't done that because,
They
again,
give us all the money to build.
to begin to build.
That's right. Originally, when you asked.
Just one question, because as you know, CDAP, this issue has come out several times, and I know.
And that's what I explained to the judge, but if you get the original, like I said, they gave us their money to begin with.
So in July, we implement 1.08. In November, we implement 1.9.2. And that's the final.
That's the full system.
That's the full system. Okay. The adult information system, that's a system a lot of people have heard about. We built that with the local law enforcement block grants from the different cities. They poured in their money, we put in ours. And city and state and federal grants, we put in about 7.8 million. And through our major technology fund, about 4.1. It's a total package of about 12.1. That system it's an aged system. It was built back in 2004 is when it began the stage implementation. So, you know, it's a system that's going to need to be replaced at some point, and we'll be looking at Texture to come in and do that. The problem that you have with off-the-shelf jail management systems is that they don't handle the volume that we handle. They just don't do it. When you look at vendors, they're not out there. It's the same thing with court case management, and that's a problem that we ran into on the criminal case management. No system, if you just take it off the shelf and plug it in, is going to work with the volumes that we have here in Dallas County. And that's why you'll see here in a moment on when we went out for bid on this and selected a firm to deal with, nobody had just an off the shelf without modifying those requirements to be able to do the things that we need to do in Dallas County. So we started up the adult case management system. Phase 1 was planning. In that phase, it was planning to draft rules for electronic criminal case filings, which we did. We updated the CJIS roadmap, which is the deal done in 2011 strategic plan. And we also defined collaborative development projects for Texas counties. And that's where the individuals that attended, and I've got a laundry list of people here. If you look at the attachments that we actually have, it shows the list of Dallas County participants under 2011 under A1, page 47. John Warren, Gary Fitzsimmons, Rodney Christian, all the people from the sheriff, DA, district courts, manager, Dana, I think she's here, Virginia, all of those participated, and that's where it was decided that the prosecutor module in the criminal courts case management system was where we needed to go, and that's why we arrived at where we're at today. So, and the next item, take share prosecutor phase 1 planning. Dallas County spent $156,000. It's a 17-month development. Then you get down to implementation. This is additional money. We'll be looking at about $3.1 million. I'm kind of labeling that phase 3 because that'll be the implementation phase. Okay. Anything, Charles, to add on that?
That was the planning phase. The next slide shows actually the development cost breakdown.
Okay.
Where Dallas County's investing about $2.8 million, $5.6 million.
And we should go live in September 2013.
The first release is due to be completed in Dallas will be on the first release this fall.
Okay. We originally, when we passed the budget on this, it was $3.2 million. But that only included Dallas and Tarrant County. Then Cameron and Travis County joined us, and it reduced our cost to $2.3 million.
Midland County has also voted to join the project.
Who has?
Midland.
Midland County says that helped too. Okay, prosecutor phase 2 budget. Okay. This is very difficult to see. The exhibit E3 has a larger copy of this, and I'm not going to go through all of it, but it's a line item budget for anyone that wants to see it. The next deal is kind of a graphic of the prosecutor phase 2 project development process and talks about the releases. But it's basically just an overview of the development process. And the next, prosecutor phase 2 project development. We did slip on our schedule on the initial plan release date, basically because the prosecutor system was built by Tarrant County, and they signed that over to CDC as being an asset there. It's no different than AIS. It's the way the code was built. We found out once we installed it and looked at it, there was no way, the way the code was developed, that you could go in and make corrections real easy. And so it's better that we remake it right now than wait till we get down the road. So what we did was Expedient is one that actually developed that. Head Springs and Sajeti came in, they agreed to do a technical review, and they also gave us a cost estimate on what it would cost for the development. Head Springs amount was actually lower than Expedient or Sajeti. So we contracted with them, and we're actually going to save some money. It's about a $1.5 million difference, but if you take in time considerations and some different things, it's only about $500,000.
The good news is we can change architecture without increasing our overall budget.
That's right. So everything's done within that budget.
And the delay is 2 months?
The delay,
Yes, Commissioner, it's a 2-month delay. Originally a 17-month project, and now it's going to be a 19-month.
okay, then the prosecutor implementation project, you have the kickoff. The $3.1 million, and I know that the CDC has worked with Vic on this, and I think that's still a work in progress. Is that correct, Vic?
As far as as far as,
The amount, 3.1 million for implementation.
yes, sir, I think that we, based upon project manager doing the initial analysis, I think that he typically have got a pretty decent number. Obviously, we make some adjustments as need be, but I think that that's the number that we want.
Okay. Texture Courts Phase 1 planning. That was a 30-month project duration to establish a detailed system modeling requirements to price the criminal courts module. We paid $286,000. It's a 30-month project. Development cost was projected to be $16.6 million. That was completed on time and within budget. Texture Phase 1 RFP comparison. This shows you where we went on the street, and it was basically boiled down to AMCAD, who is the one that we selected, versus Tyler. One of the reasons why we went with AMCAD is because we could own the source code at the end of the day. With Tyler, we were not able to do that. So if you look at the cost comparison as well as the ability to own the code, AMCAD was clearly the preferred choice in this matter. And that kind of goes through and gives you a complete comparison right there. And Texture Courts Phase 2 development. It's a 30-month time period. Dallas County's portion of that 16.6 million is about 7.2. It's estimated that if we independently developed a court module with similar scope, we'd spend a minimum of 24 million, and license and customization would cost about 10 to 15 million. So it'd be between 34 and 39 million. And we're expected to save the counties, the 3 counties, a total of about $14 million in savings.
Is this true as we continue to talk about technology advancing again? Some of us have the advantage of having been around here all this time, and we see this funnel in terms of dollars. Is technology going in such a direction that we're going to see hopefully some more compression? Because once these guys get locked in, whether it's the Sierras and the Spring Head or Head Springs or whatever, are we going to be able to see some different kind of dollars as this technology advances? Because usually technology, if we talk about 18 months, 24 months, I mean, we've got to be able to see some different kind of.
That's the uniqueness of Texture. And I'm going to let Charles go ahead.
One of the things that we're trying to do, Commissioner, to address this issue of the constant churning in technology, that's what I hear in your question, is we're trying to stabilize on something that we can control as counties, and that we don't necessarily have vendor control. For example, on this court project, included in that budget is a process to certify your internal developers to be able to maintain that software. So we want to be relying on a vendor to do it. So the idea is through collaboration, we can share resources and be able to keep the software current. On the juvenile system, we're now able to do that. The new development, we still outsource, but the maintenance of the system and everything, we do it ourselves with internal resources. So that if we can keep it current through this ever-growing process, then we should begin to control that churn. I don't know if that answers your question.
No, that's the M&O is where your costs are. I understand that.
And through the evergreen process, in other words, it's just like Oracle. As we roll something out and that gets dated and we roll something else out, on the evergreen process, we keep the technology current as we go along, so you never have to go back and do that. So I think that's a real positive. And if we're all on the same platform, there's some real cost savings here.
By in-housing at CUC, so that all of the counties reap the benefits of it.
That's right. But also our vision on the court is that you would have your own internal developers that would collaborate with the individuals.
So that you can customize it to the needs of a specific county.
That's right. Basic.
One other thing I would offer is on the GCMS Enhanced, or I guess Texture Juvenile, is that you do have the opportunity based upon you leveraging the CUC as our quote-unquote broker as far as developing the application. If you are a founding, initially a funding county, there's the opportunity as you basically, since it's your asset, then as you basically sell that asset, or that asset basically sells, you actually being the funding county, you have an opportunity to go to actually get a return on that, to go to actually hopefully offset your actual costs and then actually, certain capacities.
The next slide shows the courts phase 2, county resources and SMEs. Darrell Martin is chair of that stakeholder committee, and John Warren is the product owner. And so that process worked through. On the next slide, we received $1 million reduction because we paid software license fee about 3 months in advance. So I think we got a pretty good deal on that. On the next deal, court is just the overall budget and gives all the expenditures on that, so that you look at. Exhibit on the next bill, Exhibit F2 goes into more detail about each of the features that are within scope. So anybody that wanted to really do some in-depth research on the features is spelled out there. Texture Courts Phase 2 development status kind of shows the plan date, actual revised date. Charles, do you want to talk a little bit about that schedule?
Yes, Commissioner, we're in the middle of phase 2, the software requirements. We have workshops going on. You have a number of people that are traveling to Austin and participating remotely in those workshops. We're on schedule to finish that. Then we will initiate the kind of development-based product. It's going to be done in releases, just like we're doing prosecutor, so that Dallas County can take an early release and begin to implement it as soon as you thought that it would meet your needs to get started in the pilot court. So the whole idea is to roll this out in waves, not in one big bang, so that you can begin to implement and see value from the software. With the complete development done by September 2014, that would be the complete system. And then you'll notice in the last phase, that's that technical certification phase, where we're actually going to take resources from each of the counties and they're going to be certified in the software, so they can collaborate on the maintenance and further development of it going forward.
Thank you. So just to kind of sum this up, the tech share savings that we've experienced today, and these aren't the real savings that we'll get because it's the M&O that's the real savings in the evergreen. Prosecutor, we're anticipating $20.7 million, JCMS 9.5, CJIS 34.1, for a total of about $64.4 million. You know, when counties, we all do the same thing, there's really no reason why counties shouldn't collaborate, participate with each other, and all have the same system with certain modifications on how you run your processes within the county. But I believe this is a good program, and I think we're solid now. We've got the governance structure in place. We've got solid projects going on right now. It's projected that all projects will end with a positive balance upon completion. So financially, we're sound. Project-wise, we're sound. And I think it's in good shape. And the project sponsor for TechShare is now switching over to Dr. Daniel. So from this day forward, it's going to be lateral to her. I'll still be on the oversight committee and also on the board at CUC in both of those capacities. And we're training up Dr. Daniel to succeed me on those different committees as we move forward. So you have Darrell in the leadership position, Dick in the leadership position, and Dr. Daniel in the leadership position.
I'm a little concerned. Where are we with AIS in terms of age? Because our people, you know, when we talk about our people, our people go spastic. I see all the heads burning. When we said, you know, AIS is aging out. So
well, you know, and what's interesting on AIS is, you know, we processed probably about 1.6 million people through our jail, and that's basically what it is because we built that piece first. And, you know, AIS got bad rap when ATOS turned off those court reports. So But it's been a system that everybody said we could never do. We did it, and we did it with LLABG money. And it got us that first step. And I think through CEGES and through Texture, we'll be able to come in and to do a jail management piece through that at some later time.
I would defer to Mr. Victor for this.
Right, so typically your applications of this magnitude, generally you have, you see that the 10-year, that's what you're doing.
What kind of
10-year.
10-year?
10-year. 10-year life expectancy, so that way you kind of age them out. Obviously, some of the applications like the one we typically have on the mainframe are a little bit older than that. But generally, that's what you want. And I'm not mistaken, according to the presentation, I think AIS went online in December of 2004 with the being going live in the sheriff's office in 2005. So generally, you start looking at 2014, 2015, and we've already begun to have some preliminary conversations with the CUC about options, to see what that would entail, because obviously, based on feedback that we have from the end users, does it do what we want it to do? I think yes, but obviously I think there's an opportunity to take a look and see if there's something else out there that would typically better meet those needs. Obviously, we typically talk about obviously identifying funding for that. That would have to be something we be taking a look at in the fiscal year 14-15 time frame, and that would be something that we'd have to identify as a part of the budget process.
Well, I just, we talk about prosecutor model, case management model, that's just kind of bedrock where we've been, and I know they're a little antsy about it, and I just want to make sure that we kind of really put that curve with regards to that particular application.
One thing we recommend, Commissioners, we have a three-phase approach on these projects. One, we do that initial planning with Vic and his staff to see what are your options. And we lay out that plan. There are other counties who will want to join in on that. I'm sure that, Tarrant County is still on a mainframe jail system. Travis County is on a jail system that's no longer going to be supported by their vendor. Midland County needs a new system. There are counties out there that want to collaborate on this. Then after that initial planning phase, we do have a requirements phase. We don't just dive into that big development until we know what our options are. We lay those out for you to consider before I move forward with anything. But, the big decision is going to be buy or build. That's going to be the big decision. And
That's always a decision.
Pardon me?
I said, that's always a decision.
That's right.
We went down that route with Banner.
No, hey.
We went down that route with PD's office.
I was
There's an ongoing Texture initiative going right now for the PD's office that ours, we went and bought that, we never used it. We ought to look at that, but, so this offers.
Public defender, you mean?
Yes.
Yes.
We just started a project on indigent defense.
Yes.
It's being sponsored by the state. The state's taking a great interest in Texture and helping get statewide systems funded through our program. So.
And it's very significant that TJJD is involved in this, and the legislature continues to allocate funds. They see this is where it's going, and it's through these types of collaborations. And they're not easy to do, because you have elected officials that leave. You have new elected officials come in and say, hey, I don't want to do that. You have staff people that come in and out. You have CIOs that change, and we've experienced all of that. So it's just a constant whirlwind.
And that's going to really be in that whole phase 5 deal. I know everybody has a comfort level as we talk about it. At phase 5, we talk about training technical and certifying staff. Yeah, that's all well and good as long as they stay.
That's right.
Yeah.
But I do want to say thank you to all of those that have been so active. As I look out across the aisle, there's been a lot of people that have put in a lot of hard work, time, and effort in this. Even Ron Stretcher dated back to pre-JIS, because he's one that, so I just want to say thank you for all your time and effort, and I know that y'all will be just as cooperative and helpful as we go after game.
Well, Ron Stretcher, that's who we moved him around, because he
Did you get it?
And I was wondering, Mr. Stretcher, there's a position open on the phase 2 of the court space. I think Ron's expertise would be instrumental in one of these. And I don't want to give you any more meetings, Mr. Stretcher. You can always say no.
No more meetings or projects, please.
Yes.
also want to say thank you for your confidence, but I know that I will not be going forward without knowing that you will be there as the number one resource, as well as the CDC, Tech Share folks, and each one of these individuals who have been through the fire and the development of the various stages. So we're in exciting times. The world around us is whirling also. So it's not only the changes that we're making here, but fitting into what does the legislature do, what does the larger technology world do. And we're not done yet.
Well, I know, but
There's
you know,
a
the
lot
problem
of
is,
work
you know, every time you said about that bridge, you're not done yet, I'm worried about where that bridge is going. You know, one of the things that I continue to talk to, and I've said this to Commissioner Cantrell, I know you've been kind of laboring the vineyard with some of these other, that whole minority procurement, we spend millions and millions of dollars that have been really no policy in place.
I have a report for you on it.
What the?
Carol did send us some of that information.
Charles had-
However, I would like to see it, added to the presentation. And that was the only.
Charles did have that meeting this morning.
We have an update for you on that.
Okay.
300 or so.
All the three vendors, well, that's covered, well,
That was rescheduled just for them.
¿Cómo están?
how many came to Austin though?
We had a lot in Austin. We had at least 40 firms represented.
Yeah, we're gonna get firms from Dallas. that showed up?
Yes, there were firms from Dallas who showed up.
Yeah, but how many from Dallas showed up? You had 40 minority firms who we, like I said, we talked across the state. How many showed up from Dallas?
I don't know that.
Okay, but 3 showed up this morning in Dallas.
Yes, and there were firms from Dallas and Austin. So they came up and introduced themselves to us.
I personally just looking at this as part of it, that's what I wanted to bring forward. I would like to see more diversity in the management team and the staffing team.
So would we, it's a recruiting challenge in Austin. That's why we're broadening our nets to the Dallas-Fort Worth area.
I just want to say, we're very thankful for you, Charles, and your leadership and vision. He kind of was Tech Share.
I believe me, hey, so remember, I went to the meeting. See, that's what I always just, regardless, I know a lot of my colleagues, that they understand my frustration, not really, when we travel a
I
lot.
don't, because you never take a vacation.
Yeah, right, but that's because I'm down in Austin and a little.
What does that mean, Commissioner?
Take a vacation.
That's it, it's frustrating.
Time off.
Yeah, down in Austin, I'm running these down, I've been at all these meetings, and Darrell is now attending, I was attending them, and I was raising the concerns then. Of course, like I said, a different structure, everybody didn't have the same thing. And it's just tough. So my colleagues understand time to time my frustration with all this.
Yeah, and I'm just going to add, you need someone bilingual in your staff.
Thank you, Commissioners. Thank you, Judge.
If people will email Christie, it's kpayton@DallasCounty.gov. She'll send you the entire packet along with the exhibit.
And I want to thank Mr. Fitzsimmons and the coordinator, Mr. Warren, is definitely still involved, but, all of y'all that have come, thank you for your, because you've helped. We kind of lumbered through this, and again, that the word, the rest of the court, nobody will understand this, but Commissioner talking about bilingual, it's called banner. Wow. And we've been around.
Is anybody here during Banner?
There's some here. Well, auditor, director, and Miss Ethelyn, that's it. But those were some, it was just some, I don't know which was worse, banner or the what was the 2000 fiasco called? We were there. Y2K. We were there at midnight. We were in panic mode around here.
And with that being said, I thank Commissioner Price closed it well. Thank you to everybody that, this has been labor of love since, a long time, and it has taken a lot of people, and will take more people. I see some of the areas for bond, and having serve with Mr. Spish and the one task force. I'll be sure that the district attorney's office and, some of the divisional will be represented. And of course, I feel confident that we have a good participation with Dallas County. And last but not least, before Commissioner, thank you. And there was another piece in the briefing today. There was an excellent piece, and I thought we were going to comment, and that's Ms. Blair, GIS. $350,000 that are phase 2 best spending money that we can have. And thank you, Mr. Wickstrom. I know that you were
On the 6th will celebrate.
Yeah, well, hey, it's coming faster than we originally thought, and I leave it to the leadership and your staff, and of course the support of this court, and Mr. Wickstrom actually, had, some of the leadership to go out and see if we could do it in a different pieces, and I have to tell you, colleagues, it was Public Works, the probably best department that put this together, and it couldn't happen without Commissioner Cantrell and Commissioner Cameras as well. And hey, still work in progress, but I feel confident that we're moving in the right direction. I never realized when I got elected to serve in the Dallas County Commissioner Court how much work Public Works did outside of Public Works.
Unlike the city, we weren't.
It's Public Works had, all their definitions. That's what I said. I was surprised that they did so much outside of Public Works. I was surprised to find out that even the bureaus will, depending on GIS. How much redistricting, the elections department, and I can go on and on. That is done by Public Works. I mean, for me, Public Works was, streets and potholes. And with that being said, here took another dimension, and I'm very glad we're moving this so fast, and Mr. Wickstrom and Dr. Daniel now, hey, it's going to be faster, right, Mr. Wickstrom?
I want an appropriation, so I can do a banner that says Y2K.
I'll be happy with one that says Dallas County.
I would like to also, for the court, I would like to also thank, as for backing up on the EIS portion, I would like to thank the people in the IT staff that typically took that particular project on and continued to do the system. Certainly that's something that we typically will continue to look at, as far as options for the future, but certainly I want to thank them personally for the things they do typically to make it happen as far as end users are concerned.
Enough looking.
Yeah, enough looking.
We're now recessed for our closed sessions.